with startups and innovators, and we haven't had a legal formula or organizational one to communicate with them, but we have seen the civilian market and how these startups make breakthroughs in the markets. We are happy that we can be a part of a bootcamp. As Orange, we support various initiatives that build ecosystem in Poland. I'm greatly impressed how mentors in IDA Bootcamp are focused on cooperation and how they look for new methods to cooperate. We conduct satellites. We specialize in satellite technology. Our teams are dedicated. They have specific ideas and experience. To ASI, it is an opportunity to find talents and to have access to the solutions. This is a great opportunity for us to meet new partners in the defense sector. In Gdańsk, we focus on maritime technology and critical infrastructure protection. So we have several stakeholders involved. Polska Grupa Zbrojeniowa from the very first edition participates in IDA Bootcamp, and we are looking for innovative startups and SMEs. This is our first IDA Bootcamp. We are talking to the military about their needs and requirements.
Polish SMEs, and we will do all we can to bring the best out of them, and we are here to support. So thank you once again for inviting us.
We have had 2 extensive boot camps, and we have used technology for defense. So 300 meetings one-to-one, 30 teams, 30 experts, and now we are to formulate new challenges. So I hope to see you next year. Today, we are not yet taking up the challenge, but we focus on dual-use technology, and I will give the floor to Mikołaj Raczyński, Deputy President for Investments, Polish Development Fund. Dear ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Dear generals, dear partners and participants, thank you for attending and thank you for having me. This is an excellent video. I wish that Veronika and Paweł would get a round of applause. I believe that this video reflects what I want to tell you today, because this is an initiative based on hard work and workshops and discussions, and this seems to be quite straightforward, but as you have heard in this video, this is a breakthrough initiative, because we are at the times when military, academia, startups and technology can meet at one table. And as you could hear in this video, we have lacked this opportunity in the market and especially in the defense sector. So these programs show that such cooperation is feasible and effective, and this is a great plus and a great success. So such initiatives should be presented against certain backgrounds, because it is extremely important that we can grasp the opportunity. So we need to grasp the momentum when the way of thinking about security in Europe has changed. Defense investment is growing, demand for new technologies is growing, and the conflict behind our eastern border have become an urgent need. So here in Poland, we are in a very unique situation because we are very close to this conflict, and we have an opportunity to test certain solution, and we have access to specific knowledge, and at the same time we have safe economy, which is a pillar of the EU. We are a NATO member, and we are one of the fastest growing economies in Poland, which is conducive to the development of new technologies. So this program gives us a window of opportunity, and we want to use it. So what is IDA? Access to knowledge, so how to talk to the military forces, what is the purchase process, and this is a unique hands-on knowledge, and if not for such programs, the entrepreneurs would not have the opportunity to experience them. Then access to technology and dialogue. IDA bridges the gap between the two, and the capital we needed for development to go from prototyping to commercialization. This is why for the first time we have speed dating with venture capital institutions, and we are planning more such initiatives. So combining the three elements, we can go from a challenge via technology to funding and have the results that can scale up the best startups. I'm very pleased that this year's edition is a record one. 111 applications, 33 companies accepted, long hours of one-to-one meetings, and participation of several stakeholders from the institutions and the private sector. And two major tracks, space and safe communications. Space sector is developing really fast in Poland. We have stock exchange noted companies which are very successful, and a lot is going on in this sector, and the protection of critical infrastructure in the Baltic. This is an element that affects several areas of Polish economy, not to mention offshore power generation. So these are the key areas of critical importance for Europe for years to come. So today I would like to congratulate the 10 best teams who would present their solutions, because in order to be one of the 10, you had to show that you can learn fast, that you are mature technologically. As Polish Development Fund, we feel responsibility and accountability to support this sector and the segment of dual use by events like today's ones, but also by offering capital for development. This is why we have initiated a PFR program called Deep Tech in order to fund local venture capital funds which are focused on dual-use technologies in order to make sure that the capital for growth and scalability of investments would be available. And we can see that our activities, our operations bring tangible results. We are learning about Satim, Defund, Quatum Grants. These are the companies that started with us. So this wouldn't have happened if not for our partners. So I'd like to thank the Ministry of National Defense and RRZ Formosa, RWB, Argus, ISAIC, and Orange, These companies form the value of the program and allow for today's for the events like the one today can become a reality. So contact with users and investors make something much bigger than individual bootcamp edition. We are operating at the time when technology, security, and economy are meeting. So here we are going beyond the national needs, and the companies that combine technology and security can use this window of opportunity to develop solutions that can be a global success. And I'm convinced that many such companies are present here today. Thank you. Thank you, Mikołaj, for emphasizing the importance of the program. And now I'd like to give the floor to Colonel Michał Żołnierowicz, Deputy Director of the Innovation Department at the Ministry of National Defense. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be here again. I attended the first edition of IDA Bootcamp. And now, again, during the third edition, I can meet you. So good morning again. I'm very pleased that we can meet here during the IDA Demo Day 2025. This is Polish Technology Accelerator for military use. I want to welcome representatives of the PFR, representatives of armed forces, academia, and prospective investors, and especially the finalists of this year's edition. So we have 10 laureates, and we'll see the results of our cooperation and their work. I want to thank President Raczyński for the opening. For us, PFR is the founding stone of this cooperation. And when the defense sector and investors cooperate, changes happen much faster. I'm proud to represent General Górka. You have seen his presentation in the video. He has been involved in this year's edition. He has supported the teams both during IDA Bootcamp and during the Business Accelerator in Krakow. However, today he cannot attend, but he always emphasizes that IDA is one of key tools for building capacity for Polish armed forces. More than a year ago, General Ben Hodges, former U.S. Army Europe, said, in Eastern and Western Europe, we wouldn't have been able to protect all key cities, harbors, airports, and critical infrastructure against Russia because we do not have the capabilities to do so. And this was a prophecy. It was a diagnosis and not a criticism. It was a call for action for us. And today, this call for action takes a new meaning because Mark Rutte emphasizes that alliance bases its future on 3 pillars: resistance, innovativeness, and readiness. So in the rapid adoption plan, they say the risk of implementing innovation is much lower than inactivity. So this is the time when programs like IDA are needed. Modern defense is not based on the number of soldiers or aircrafts. It is based on technology, on space technology, autonomy, resilience, maritime and underwater technology, and unmanned aerial vehicles. These are strategic capabilities of a country, and building our strength in this area is our obligation. This is why the Ministry of Defense develops fast testing paths, and one of them is a competition that has just been initiated. So this is a competition for fighting UAVs. So this is an opportunity to verify your capabilities on the ground. EDA is a part of a bigger system developed by MON. So anti-UAS, NATO Diana, rapid adoption action plan, and cooperation with end users. All these initiatives are focused on one goal: shorten the path from prototype to actual implementation. Steve Jobs said once that people do not know what they want until you do not tell them what they want. In the defense sector, it is even more profound because the soldiers cannot specify the technology they would need tomorrow, but they can appreciate it once they have it in hand. So this is why the dialogue and feedback is so important, and quick adaptation is of vital importance. And EDA allows to confront technology with actual operational needs. Starting from the first edition, EDA shows it's not a conference, it's not a trade fair, it's not a slide presentation. It's a process that combines technology with operational reality. Starting from the first edition, it is 700 one-to-one meetings, prototypes tested with Formosa, public, private, and academia partnerships, actual implementations. This is where we have the capabilities: resilience, innovation, and readiness. And it all brings us to the key question. To many teams, the most important time is the first order from the national armed forces. And the key question is are the armed forces using this technology or not? This is why EDA is so important, because it helps us reach the moment when you can say yes. A modern defense is built by different communities: startups, academia, large corporations, operators, science, investors, and soldiers. This synergy is not a trend. It's a precondition for building capability of the whole nation. And let me emphasize the most important thought. The Ministry of Defense is not seeking technology. It is looking for partners who are accountable, responsible, who cooperate with end users, who understand the requirements of the battlefield, and who deliver quality that makes a difference. It is them who would build the sovereignty of Poland and resilience of the whole alliance. But today's demo day is not just a presentation of projects that can be fast-tracked to implementation. It's the presentation of future capabilities. On behalf of General Gurka and the Innovation Department, I would like to confirm that we are ready to implement new technologies at the rate required by operational reality. So this is all from me. It is now time to show the future. Thank you, Colonel.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Your speeches made our work a bit easier. And now I would like to ask Paweł Huras, Acting Director of the Innovation Development Department of PFR, and together we'll talk about today's edition. Now you can hear me. First of all, how did the project was established, and what is the idea between IDA? 3 years ago, maybe a bit more, we met at Ministry of Defense, of National Defense, at the big table. It was planned for 1 hour. It took us 4.5 hours finally. And the ecosystem met there, and we discussed what we can do in order to start the adaptation of technology for the purposes of the army. And as each industry, we are facing a lot of challenges. We decided that we need to start working, and we started to actually do something. So we decided to start our mission of meeting the needs of the military with the current success of innovators. And what we've seen, that the parties that were engaged, which is the Krakow Innovation Hub, Ministry of National Defense, academia, and other companies from the defense sector, we've learned that what we need is a very quick verification and the direction of those technologies, how they should be implemented and what we should implement. On the other side, we saw that we will be in need of capital. And that's why from the very beginning at PFR, we're working on the instrument of a fund, of a tech fund that would invest in this kind of entities. How does IDA look like? For those IDA, for those who are not that familiar with the program, we base it all on the model of open innovations. And as a rule of the thumb, such a model in financial markets, for example, industry markets, is well known. The model is about formulating the operation challenges, and together with defense system or Infero or other companies, Argus, we had challenges. We named those challenges, and then we were trying to find the teams that would respond to those challenges. 111 applications, and we selected, after much discussion, 33 teams that took part in the 3-day sprint, divided into 2 paths. And the big value was that you can probably confirm that you were meeting one-on-one with the potential end receiver, and you would get very different feedback, from a very negative to a very contrasting one to a positive, but so that you could know what to do next and have the access to knowledge from the military perspective, and not only military. That is, on everyday basis, inaccessible to you. It's difficult to approach a general, a lieutenant, a colonel, and ask them what they need. This model allows us to get, in a transparent way, part of the needed necessary information. What's next? IDA does not end here at the event. It's a community. I'm glad that previous participants of previous editions stay in touch with us, come to the events, share their success with us from the first edition. And we keep on organizing meetings with investment funds. Today, after the event, we are meeting with 10 investment funds and 35, I believe, teams, 34 teams, in order to find financing for development of those projects. And we know it's possible because we've already funded some of the projects from the portfolio of PFR ventures, like Defendaya, for example, were funded with success. Now, ladies and gentlemen, should we play in bingo of this year's edition? I believe we'd have to ask the Brigade General, Marcin Górka. Thank you very much. So we will move on from here, and would like to say a sincere thank you to our partners that were already named, but let's say it again. The Department of Innovation and General Górka, Colonel Żołnierowicz, Captain Kuba Zarzycki, and Colonel Tadeusz Polanowski. Thank you so much for your engagement and for your motivation of the ministry, because, as we mentioned, we had Argus this year, we had the Maritime Inspektorate, and today we have the representatives of IGHOTS, institutes, and other military academia. And when we talk about the EBSIT, we thank you so much. Concept Grupa WB, PGZ, CTM, and the supporting partners. We have Palantir, BAE Systems, Orange, and Cloudfero, and ISI. Thank you very much. We would like to thank all of you who shared the knowledge patiently and found the found the crown jewels and hard-to-be Balnord OTB expeditions. Thank you so much. And also the operators from the Krakowian Technological Park, Pomorska Specjalistyczna Strefa Ekonomiczna, and from the Science Park in Gdańsk. Thank you so much. And here what we have, this is the highest level that we managed to achieve. We have the, on average, it's the experts' estimations above 7, which is a very, very good result. Now, what's next? We keep our fingers crossed for the next adaptation. I believe that Colonel Michał Żołnierowicz mentioned already what was a success from the investment perspective. We have more and more entities for the VC during the VC meetings, and there are some of those who are already in the pipeline who already found the financing. What is interesting, at least 10 teams that we know of course, because we don't know all the information, were already tried in the operational conditions. We know that one team that was groomed by IDA got into the action of NATO, Diana. We cannot tell you more. We can tell you more about that after the 10th of December, because it's confidential still. And we know that more and more of you are still scheduling next tests, next meetings, and we know it's going on after the program. And we hope that next investments and next events such as Storm Rider, co-created with one of the IDA companies, or those who successfully went through the selection, military selection, and we hope that you will be working directly with the army. Let's go back here. When we talk about this slide, it is different than other slides on purpose, because it is the slide that we've discussed exactly a year ago. And we wanted to show you things that changed. This wall of challenges is breaking, you see, so that's why we wanted to show it. The decision 145 during this year's bootcamp, no one quoted this one. Before we would discuss about lack of financing, but now we have already PFR, Deep Tech Fund, and Innovate Poland. When we talk about testing the products, the Colonel Żołnierowicz mentioned about decision 123, and the projects such as Eastern Shield and the Iron Defender, and we have higher readiness of the industry, defense industry, and to cooperation with the ministry in the model of open innovation, Storm Rider and the WB group. And we have a higher awareness of innovators. Thank you so much. We, as I mentioned, are keeping our fingers crossed for you, and we're moving on to the next points of the agenda. Thank you very much. And now we would like to ask former head of vice president of the General Piotrowski. So sorry. Please forgive me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tomasz Piotrowski. What can I add? I'd like to congratulate for today's event. The beginning of December is a good moment. It's a good timeline. We can hear more and more about the Polish national strategy for national security. We hope it's going to happen. The US had already issued their own strategy. During the previous editions, I heard a lot about the strategic reference point. I do hope it's going to happen. I hope that this strategy will help the other strategies to be aligned with us, and it is very important for all of us as we sit here. The invitation to G20 is very important, so that's why I'm saying it's a good momentum. We are getting into this spot in the structure of the world of economy which is due. This has been proven during the previous editions of IDA, and the potential is huge. It's a really huge potential. It's really motivating, and it is a source of satisfaction. What we see is the necessity, the need for this kind of initiatives, and I do hope that there are going to be more and more initiatives of that, not only year after year, but week after week. I do hope it's going to be the case. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. From what I can see, we are breaking through the culture barriers, and the last slide was a perfect slide to reflect that, to represent it, because we are building new environment. We're breaking the culture barriers. Although nothing has happened, the decision 145 is still active, but we are still able to meet, to develop, and what is important, we are still able to build a very healthy networking. I see new staff of defense, of military industry, who exchange their good practices, good experience. It turns out that what seems to be impossible, it's happening actually here. We have here a head of Formosa unit, and that decision is also for him, but he is participating in this event. He is initiating new activities, and I'm very, very pleased with that. And this is this is all what Bootcamp is about. That's why congratulations to all of you and the PFR. What was already mentioned, what we should do, testing, one more time, testing. If we manage to achieve a situation, and I see Colonel Żarnierowicz and myself here, when we talk to generals, to active leaders who should be here, who should listen, who should share their experience and their wisdom, we should translate it into tests and practical exercise, practical experience, because as Colonel mentioned it, the soldiers know what they need, what they should implement, and how they should implement, and they can give us tips and give us direction. I'm very happy that we have lately named an assistant to the general of Armed Forces, and we already have such an assistant who is going to talk to us as well and cooperate with us. I can see my role as the soldier in reserve, so that's why I'm still not retired, but just to say. And yes, of course, we have the Minister of the Defense. And in case of other ministers, these are the heads of departments. We should have this type of level of communication. If the ministers and vice ministers, deputy ministers think of how to responsibly develop this sector, then we should have talks on that level so that we have a shortened distance between us, smaller distance, so that we learn on everyday basis about how huge this potential is for all of us. One more time, great word of gratitude to all of you, to PFR, to the Polish Development Fund, and not only to about the discussions, but about the successes that we can see more and more lately. So if you believe that I can support you in the process in any way, please contact me so that we have more contracts, more development of our capabilities, not only about our defense capabilities, but also the defense industry, and to Polish people to grow in this country. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. General. We are going to think about the ambassador of idea. And now we're moving to the main point of today's meeting, and this is the presentation of the best teams, and Małgorzata Chmielewska is going to tell us what kind of teams were the best ones this time. Good morning. As Veronika mentioned, I am a representative of the Krakow Technological Park, but I do hope that from today you're going to think of me in FOT Krakow frames, which is a consortium of the Krakow Technological Park and the Academy Akademia Górniczo-Hutnicza. So we are going hand in hand with the Ministry of National Defense and the Ministry of Development and Technology, and together with the Polish Development Fund, we try to support companies that can, in fact, support the defense industry, Polish defense industry, but also to have a real impact on the defense capabilities of our country. It's my great pleasure to present 5 teams that applied to here in the Cosmos path and secure communication path. I can tell you that space and safe communication path. I'm sure I can tell you that you're going to listen to how we can communicate securely in space and how we can implement technology from an idea to the orbit. So without further ado, the rules are as follows. Each team has 3 minutes. And I would like to ask right now Dr. Marcin Patecki from Sigma Labs to tell us on how we can build and design electronics that is resistant to extreme spatial conditions. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Good morning. My name is Marcin Patecki. I'm a physicist at Sigma Labs, a startup that was founded by the former employees of CRN, and so that we could put the experience we had into designing radiation detector systems for the use of land purposes, but also for the in-space use. Not only our intuition, but also the industry reports confirm that in the coming decades, the number of satellites and the mass and the value of the loads transported to space are going to grow. At the same time, from the very beginning of space exploration, all the units that are there are prone to radiation, which causes damage. So many missions fly with limited real-time insight into radiation levels. They have no detectors that would tell them about the radiation levels and whether or not those levels are dangerous or not. And we would like to fill in that gap. So we want to offer them a detector that is going to be light, compact, and low power, and fully autonomous. The demonstration of our solution was presented half a year ago in the International Space Station, and since then we are regularly drawing data from that station, from ISS, and we see that it actually is working as we planned it from the very beginning. The data that we measure is the whole radiation, the total radiation display, and then we have the jump of bits that we can transform into the source of data, which is what is important, is the real-time data. It enables us for smarter protection of onboard electronics and post-event failure analysis. For example, the satellite can get into a safe mode and wait through the dangerous conditions, and when the radiation drops, when radiation levels drop, then it comes back to the operational model as it should. We are about to run out of those 3 minutes, of course. We want to ensure this radiation awareness. We have a device that is enabling that, and backed with the experience from the ISS, we are going to transfer this demo unit into a commercial device. We are also trying to take a look at the rovers who are very useful for decommissioning of the nuclear power plants. But we are basically, the main objective is our space industry, and we are very sure of this solution. That's why we are very open to joint space travels and partnerships. That's why I do encourage you to cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now it is time to go back to Earth and to have Sibylla Technologies and Cezary who will tell us why it is worth to look in the sky and what space technology, how space technology can be used on Earth. I believe 3 minutes is not enough because I have quite a number of slides. So here, don't look up. We do look up because it is worth, because of a number of space objects and how sizable is the space market, which is worth $418 billion. And obviously, we monitor whether ballistic missiles that are transported. So are we to worry? This is the ESA visualization. And this is what's happening if 2.5 millimeters hit the solar panel of a Hubble telescope. 15,000 satellites in 2025. We are planning 100,000 in 2030. And we are talking about dual use. So militarization is heading in this direction. So we can see the example of a launch Olymp, which travels around geosatellites. So around IDA, we have suggested 2 products, Ursa Minor and Hydra. So Ursa Minor is an integrated mobile telescope set, which can provide observation of the space with 10-meter scope. So this is below 1 second of the angle. And when you get it into Europe and then you can rotate it, you can build a monitoring network on its basis. So together with our software for detection, we can automate the detection process and to enhance space security. The Hydra sensor, so when you have 6 telescopes equipped with filters, we can use photometry, spectrometry, and other technologies, high-resolution technologies, to specify objects. So you have a rotation of the object and how it changes the light curve. So how can you translate it into everyday language? So this is Starlink satellite and booster. This will be the curve for the objects that rotate like this. So to sum up, today, civilian solutions today and the civilian telescopes form the basis for the space security system. And the cost effectiveness of these solutions is great. You can build a huge network that would form the foundation for detection. And together with civilian networks that are already operated by Sibylla, we can build a secure space security system. This is all from me. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cezary. This was a huge challenge to present such a sophisticated technology over such a brief time. And you have the telescopes which offer us many opportunities for observation. So let us go back to space. And as you can imagine, hardware is very important and software is even more important because it offers you opportunity to process data. So all of us want to make sure that the data collected in space is not transported to the Earth. So Julia Maruszczak of KP Labs will present Smart Mission Ecosystem. Hello, my name is Julia Maruszczak. I'm the Business Development Chief Growth Officer at KP Labs. Let me start with who we are. So we are a company based in Gliwice. We have our R&D center. We have 80 people on board, and we participate in 10 space missions, and we have completed more than 35 projects for international space agencies and Polish one as well. So we have developed a scalable, energy-saving and resilient system that would include 3 components: software, hardware, and AI algorithms to process data during space missions. And our solution was Smart Mission Ecosystem. What is it? It is a full ecosystem involving software, data processing units, and AI algorithms. This system can be implemented in full, starting from software to algorithms, to data processing systems in the space, and you can use algorithms to analyze such data on Earth. So here you can see our key flagship product. Antelope is a data processing unit, class 5. Leopard is the unit for data processing for class 4 and 5 satellites, and the Lion is a unit for data processing for class 3 satellite. So what are the key features of our solutions? You can make speedy decision on Earth. Data is analyzed in real time in space, so the services can make decisions in real time. Satellite only sends vital information. So it processes everything in the orbit and sends the key conclusions to the Earth. What is more, the information is updated online. So if a new algorithm appears that we want to use in space, you can implement it in space. So what are the potential implementation opportunities? So this is the border and battlefield. So you can identify and detect vehicles in crisis management and in surveying infrastructure and in space situational awareness. You can use our hardware and algorithms to conduct space surveillance and tracking. Our solution has been already appreciated by the European Space Agency and the President of Poland. We have implemented several projects, and we are open to cooperation, so reach us if you need anything from us. Thank you. I'm convinced that Julia will have a lot to talk about with our next expert, who is Jakub Rowanowski of IWRE. This is our AI specialist, and he will talk about the applications of AI in everyday life and how you can quickly adapt this technology for other uses. So good morning. Let me start with saying that something that is good for everything is good for nothing. So this is how I want to advertise my company. This is retinopathy image, and then this is the light. So this is seismic wave. So why not to approach a military solution based on radar or then parasites and imaging, so cell division. Another image autonomous robot arm. If not, it wouldn't be so smart if not for data processing. And then LiDAR data processing. So why not to equip military equipment with such solutions? And why don't you detect targets or identify targets using advanced imaging? Accelerometer as the source of information, electrical impulse, and monitoring of horses' health. So you can have autonomous units, more autonomous, and you can monitor health of soldiers during special missions. Prediction of energy prices and sales strategies in e-commerce, they can be compared to planning a military strategy. 32 parameters that describe psychometric profile of a human being. Here, career counseling. So how can you adapt soldiers or select soldiers for specific tasks? So what is the common denominator of for all these solutions? Algorithms, and they are based on mathematics. This is why all the solutions I have presented is not only a line of success. We have had many failures, but thanks to these failures, we are here with you. Starting from 2019, we have implemented our solutions in power supply, automation, and other sectors. So these are all autonomous solutions. We develop this algorithm, and the security of data is on our side or on your side. We can work on limited equipment because we can optimize the algorithm. This is the presentation how you can adapt technology and apply it for military purposes. For this reason, we are looking for partners for whom implementation of AI and algorithm is in demand. This is why I strongly encourage you to contact us. We are here to talk to you and to answer your questions. Thank you. Thank you. And now it's time for the last presentation. One of the challenges during IDA Bootcamp was secure communications. So we need IS Wireless company and Kamil, who will tell us how to communicate at the time of crisis, pandemics, natural catastrophes, and God bless, war. So 3 minutes, I will be brief, but I would like to thank you for having us on the program. We are in the NATO Diana accelerator, stage 2, so we can have some comparison, and we can be proud of IDA, all of us. I'm very proud that this program has been implemented in Poland. We are a company from Piaseczno, registered in 2017. We are based on R&D. We have worked on a wireless communication on low NTRLs. Then we have started a company that would build its own network. All the expertise I present, it is our own IP. So 50 people on board. The majority of them are talented Polish engineers, and what we can provide for you. This is a presentation of a battlefield and a modern 5G technology. They can respond to several challenges. First of all, security, high throughput, and low latency. And just in the case of traditional networks, the installation should be on the spot. In a couple of minutes, 5G offers tactical bubbles on demand. This is a key technology for NATO, and there are a number of solutions that it can be addressed. Why not traditional 5G networks that have been offered by large telecom providers? First of all, because the traditional 5G is an upgraded 4G, and no one has thought about military applications. So it is vulnerable to infrastructure loss, prone to jamming, and is not AI ready. So traditional networks, 5G networks, do not have a RAM intelligent controller. This is a brain on which you can configure a network for your own needs. So what we can suggest to bridge the gaps in the traditional 5G? First of all, self-healing. We have proven it in Diana program. So this is the attack on the base station, which is quite innovative. We can address it within a few minutes, and we can recreate it on new servers. Anti-jamming, this is very innovative because we have developed this technology so we can address a situation when a part of a band is blocked, and we can escape dynamically in nanoseconds, and fast adaptability. So we have shown it in the battlefield. We can install the base station in a dozen of minutes, and each user who would like to use XApps in the applications, they can enter our network via open interface. So we have form factors like the mobile ones on vehicles. They can be also installed on UAVs. They can be autonomous, and they can be, our stations can be held in a manpack. We are a proud member of Diana Accelerator and Seal of Excellence. We have had several patents in the US. In Europe, it is not possible. And we would like to thank for the cooperation from the Ministry of Defense, and we are proud to work on these ambitious projects. So please contact us if you're interested. As far as investor relations are concerned, we are planning a round next year. So if you are interested in our product, please contact us. And thank you very much. Thank you so much, and now over to Veronika. Thank you, Gosia. Over to Jaśmina, an expert of Gdańsk Science and Technology Park, who will walk us through the companies attending the path concerning the protection of critical infrastructure in the Baltics. So we have had 5 teams on board, and this project was conducted by the Special Economic Zone in Gdańsk. So without much further ado, I would like to invite the first startup who came to us from Gdańsk and from Sopot, to be more specific. This is Defense Bay. This is a TROP. It's tactic system C4ISR for Polish armed forces. This system is used in data flow. It can be used during the peace and during the wartime. And the defense base stands when other networks go down, we still connect you. So Paweł Kołaczkowski, CU Defense Bay.
Welcome, everyone. I came here to present you our solution that we call TROP, Tactical Real-Time Operations. It's a system of real-time of C4 class. And it is a solution that was built on the basis of our experience working with the defense of the US, Defense Unicorn, Data Robot, or our experience in building the whole ecosystem TAC. And moving on to the very presentation, we have a view here from TROP application. In the research tool, when we see the port in Gdańsk, we are pinned to one of the sensors. This is a solution that allows us to integrate the whole number of sensors, and we give each officer, each soldier, access in his mobile phone or a laptop or computer, a system that allows to observe the situation in real time and to have the situation awareness. Here we have our own system AI, and we can here detect an infantry positions and inform about the threat. We have all the vector base of all the markers, and it's possible to plug in of MCB connector into any given AI engine. We have the whole mass of sensors with API and SDK. The solution was created on the basis of our experience in Ukraine when we participated in the Delta project. And in Ukraine, the connectivity and information advantage is not to be overvalued. There is a possibility to work off-grid, for example. So when there's a jamming of a system, you can still have the situation awareness where you have no GSM, no 5G. We also have an made our own DFG network. It is a dual-use application, and we have it implemented in a few municipalities. We have it for TROP CIV. We have coordination during national catastrophes, and for TROP MIL we have a system C4, ISR, and COP for many different levels of command, integration with BSP, BSL, and sensors, and it means that every soldier is still an element of connected network. The architecture has six pillars. It's multi-platform: Android, iOS, web. It's security with air gap, MTLS, TMP, secure enclave, zero trust, and we have a scalable solution here, what gives us an advantage for the American attack, for example. We have, for example, reticulum or mesh diameter, and it is possible to mesh and satellite and diameter automized reconnections, and we also are completely independent system. The whole SBS is on the side of our company. We have a full standardization in alignment with NATO, and we have the compatibility with other systems used by other companies. We have also Neptune Studio that use our application for the simulation of battlefield. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I would like to ask Angler, a hybrid USV UUV with autonomic decision system AI. The fact that it is on water and underwater and its versatility makes it perfect for many different missions, searching missions and rescue missions. But it is a very specific slogan. Let's sing something together. CEO, welcome the CEO of the company. Good morning. Well, the war in Ukraine has presented a very fast development of drones. However, we see the drop in its effectiveness because drones are prone to the weather. They're very noisy and they're high and they're very expensive. Our solution is much different because we have a hybrid drone that is able to work on the water and under the water. It has a multiple application, and it is fully autonomous in decision-making thanks to AI systems. when we have customer discovery with the Ukraine clients, we've came up with such technical specification for that drone. And we understand that in other regions, the needs could be different. That's why we're presenting a platform that can be adapted to many different scenarios. And here we have a prototype B, tested more than a year ago to test the systems of going underwater and communication, autonomous communication. And it traveled for over 20 kilometers. And this drone we are going to build by the end of the year. This is the visualization of the drone, 5 meters long. And we plan at the beginning of the next year to test it in the Baltic Sea. The mission is to monitor the infrastructure, rescue mission, reconnaissance missions, and mine detection, and, well, the logistic missions. About our competitors, a lot is going on in this segment. We have a lot happening in the on-water and underwater segments, but there is no hybrid drones. So this is our advantage. Also, we have a full autonomous operation. We have a very quick B+R, and we can test those drones in the target conditions. And here, and combat condition, sorry. And now we are at the third stage of B+R plan. By the end of the next week, we are going to be fully ready. And we already have signed clients from Poland, Czechia, Ukraine, Holland, Dania, and France and Finland. We've already closed an investment round with investors from the US, Ukraine, and Denmark. And the next round is planned for the first quarter of 2026, after we've tested the first drone. This is our team that is experienced with building the right equipment, and together we work on that solution for you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, next team is Industrial Cortex. This is an intelligent system for monitoring maritime critical infrastructure, sea critical infrastructure, which analyzes threats, detects the threats, analyzes the data very quickly, and supports the services. It's based on AI, and Grzegorz Kanta is going to tell you about it, the CEO. Good morning. Thank you very much for the nice presentation. My experience is several dozen years on the edge of business, IT, and law. And what I'd like to tell you today is that about building of solutions that allow us to move into the new league of image. Now, can you hear me well? Good. So, in fact, what brought us all together, because I would like to tell you about our team, is the love to order. Logistics world is huge, beautiful, quick, very difficult to manage. And what we try to do is we try to organize it pixel by pixel, and each of us is deeply engaged into our venture, and we represent many different fields: architecture, construction, hardware, robotics, lead data scientist, inventor, AI inventor, Paweł, well-known person all over the world, myself, and computer vision lead, Erhan, well-known all over the world as well. And that's very quick talking. And the short, brief story. Today we have sun, which is normally not the case. But what we usually see is a grayness. We can see it sometimes or not. And please imagine a border between the countries, and it should be very quickly and automatized. And why it's not? Because it's not automated. And why it's so slow? Because when the train comes in or the the person that controls those trains needs to come up to the train, needs to take a look, needs to verify its content. When there's a train coming in, we are happy that the person saw all the numbers, copied the numbers correctly, and described the load correctly. And it's a great day if it all happened. But let's imagine they have missed something. From the point of view of audit, it's okay. We've lost some container, but that's okay. But from the point of view of security, this something is transported through the border to us, and we don't know what it is. So that's why this is where we come in as those heroes, and we order that world, which is very important. We, with our platform, that is computer vision, completely computer vision platform. That's why I mentioned to here about it, because it is TLR9. This is an authentic dual-use platform. I mentioned border, because this system is already defending our borders, controlling everything that comes in, everything that goes through. So right now, I will tell you about the next projects. We are expanding quickly. Why? Because, I will show you in a moment, 96% of industrial cortex versus competitors, 44-80%. So it's like taking a loop, magnifying loop, and the Hubble telescope. Then next implementation, next planned implementation, we have already planned and confirmed POC. We have car transport in Turkey up to 250 kilometers per hour, moving up to at that speed. And EDA is dual use. In fact, we are dual use. We have come in, thank you, Mr. General, we have new missions. We know where we are. We have automation of logistics. We have automation of defense industry. We see into the transporters. We can detect ammunition transportation, for example. We protect infrastructure market. It is here for the investors. We know where we are. We know what we want to achieve. It's only 5%, 40 million for now, but it's going to grow only from 11 billion to 34 billion in 1 decade. It's a fast-growing market. We know what we want to achieve. We can discuss that. We know what is the purpose. We know where we want to get to. Dual use is crucial here because we know and we can support military logistics as well. We know what, where, and how it should be there in the process and how we can support it. Thank you so much. And right now, I would like to ask Vector Baltic to the stage, which is a platform with the tools that support defense offense activities in the cyber sphere as well, and they detect threats for the critical infrastructure, and it provides for working within minutes and agents autonomical system AI. Good morning. I'm from Vector Baltic, where we protect sea critical infrastructure with the use of AI. Well, Baltic hides very difficult and threatening units that are not only posing a threat, but also conduct sabotage. We've seen it already when the cables were and the optical fiber cables was cut. Their solution is very easy. We are managing a very difficult and complex data, which makes it difficult to react immediately. We connect data from AIS, SAR, and radar, from ICCT and active sonars and passive sonars. But what makes us different is that we put a context to that data, and we have text data. We have OSINT, which is so-called white intelligence. We have local graph base of knowledge base. We have sanction lists and incidents, and we have press information and the story of Seacraft. And how it works. We have the agent data fusion. We have the sources that are moved into the models, and we have AI agents, coordinators, and the security researcher, and we have an output, which is risk score and report, and it's a simple metrics for the officers on duty. It can be done, our interface can be done in the OSINT or CFlex or Digital Baltics. For us, it is a versatility of the system of dual use so that we can protect it. It's all thanks to the modular architecture protected with the engineers, designed by engineers with the experience from those sectors. What can we offer to the critical infrastructure? Well, we are winning schematics that make, we program schematics that make the adversary to withdraw. We prevent, we are proactive, and we expand our analytic possibilities without the need to employ more people. That was Vector Baltic, where we are directed towards the future. And the last theme from this path on the protection and defense of the critical technology on Baltic. And this is from the Space Technologies Park. And this is the crisis technology of tomorrow. So this is when we have to deal in a situation, mitigate for a situation of a complete crisis of infrastructure and lack of infrastructure. And Grażyna Heba will tell you from their perspective. Thank you. Welcome. I would like to present you our solution that was designed by FlyLab company with the support of the Park of Space Technologies and with the local government support and from Zielona Góra. It's a system, as you mentioned, that provides communication situation in the complete lack of infrastructure, GSM, internet, and satellites. This system was designed for the most advanced and most demanding conditions, and it is done to deal in the crisis situations when you lose the infrastructure completely. What are the most important features? The self-creation of network. Each device is a transmitter and transformer that automatically connects with other modules in the range. It is resilient to the failures of infrastructure, which is completely independent. It guarantees communication 24/7 with the satellites, and it is also remote monitoring and notifications. It also provides a full energy autonomy. It is powered by the solar panels and energy warehouses and energy storage when we have low sun periods. It's a project that provides city network with resiliency to many different failures. It is city coverage. It is resilient to overload. It is self-configuring and self-repairing. It provides support for many different services, and it's a perfect layer of security for the city. It's like a spare communication network in critical situation. Here we have the whole list of entities that could benefit from the system and could use the system in many different crisis situations. And it also allows for the service of trackers and locators that link to the CityNet and provide data and connection in the real time. It can use very advanced and complex ecosystem of sensors. What else would I like to tell you more? The status of the project. Where are we? We are in the phase that is pre-implementation phase. We are right now installing those self-sufficient hubs or grids of CityNet in Zielona Góra and Nowa Sól. Right now, those devices there are working in the test mode, currently collecting data. What is the most important is that it's a much more efficient solution than those used right now. and this is almost my last slide. The system is much more effective when in the diverse terrain. It provides a stable data exchange in the terrain where the standard connectiveness is lost, and it can significantly increase operational capabilities of the field teams. Thank you so much.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Thank you so much. I hope we have presented exhaustive information to you. We have technology potential, and I would like to invite Aleksander Mokrzycki and Colonel Żołnierowicz and representatives of two VCs which have signed initial contracts. So this is in Expedition Fund and Balnord. And they are going to have a panel discussion on the investment opportunities. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we move on to the most important topics, let me start on the sideways and ask Michał to tell you a few words about the history of cooperation between the Ministry of Defense and other institutions. So how it all started. So I wanted to tell you that Michał started the whole process. It was about 4 years ago. It started with a phone call. And if you could briefly describe this process, because in the context of what's happening in Europe and within NATO, everything started in Brussels, as far as we know. So it started 4 years ago. I served in AMS, and the whole command was working on the strategy and the implementation of technologies. And at that time, we thought that a Diana Accelerator Fund would be initiated. And I came back to Poland. General Górka gave me a job in the department. And this is how it all started in Poland. So we were at the stage of wondering whether the Ministry of Defense should join the Diana Accelerator. So I have had some experience with it, and we have sent to all the institutions in the sector and the Ministry of Technology, of Science, and the Ministry of Funds, national funds, in order to ask them whether we should join the accelerator or not. And I started talking to a representative of the Ministry of Technology. He came to my office. We spent 2 hours talking about VC funds, funding rounds, startups, etc. And I was wondering, oh my gosh, what we are talking about. He's talking to me about startups, funding rounds, etc. And I said, yes, we want to do something. We want to start. We have NATO's Innovation Fund. And he gave me a phone number to Deputy President of Polish Development Fund. So I was wondering, what am I doing? But I gave it a try, and Alexander answered the call, and I presented to him our intentions, and he said, okay, I will analyze what you have said, and I will call you back in 2 hours. And he called back in half an hour, and he said that the fund was on board. So the president and the deputy president came to the meeting, and we started negotiations for Poland joining the NATO's Innovation Fund. At that time, our department also only focused on standard operations. And at that time, we were called the Department of Innovation, but there was no military sector innovation on board. So I have started working with Maciej, and thanks to his open mind, we are here today. Obviously, this is the cutting a long story short, but now we are in a totally different point than we were 4 years ago. Staszek, you have established number 2 fund. You were the first entity in Poland and one of the first globally to operate a defense sector fund. If you could briefly describe your experiences, I believe it is important to have an insight into the direction in which we are heading. So first of all, congratulations. So first of all, congratulations to all of you, because this is a huge achievement on your part, especially because you started at the time when the pressure was not so strong. So together with Mikołaj, we started to invest in defense sector 3 years ago. We had several motivations. Obviously, the war in Ukraine was the main one. But apparently, my partner had a very strange idea. He started to write a PhD dissertation at Oxford on UAVs. So at that time, it was an absurd topic, and it is in very much demand right now. So we have had some theory and knowledge to invest and invest seriously. So we could tell which companies were worth investing in. And on the other hand, we had a sense of mission that we could do something for Polish and European security, because I do not believe in Polish security alone, independently of defense capabilities of Europe. This is why I treat Poland and Europe as one. And I believe that we need to build on our intellectual potential and Polish capital and Polish capabilities, but we also need to build up on the experience of our allies, and we should transfer best technologies to Poland. And I'm talking mainly about Europe, not the US. And this is a great opportunity for us, because when we talk to companies right now which are really competitive, when you have investment rounds which are oversubscribed, and the fact that we are a Polish fund, this is a big advantage for us. Something that was a challenge in the past now is a competitive advantage, because the 5% of GDP we spend on defense sector is something that resounded globally. So the international perception is really positive of Poland. So obviously the Ukrainian market is of key importance, but talking about the markets that are free of war, so the next countries would be US and Poland. And if everyone wants to talk to us, we should use this window of opportunity and talk to international partners. Wojtek, you are the other fund, PAL Nord, and you got funding as part of Deep Tech program. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to Staszek, because you were the first one. And this is not a competition, yeah? This is not a race. So what were your motivations for going towards supporting the defense sector? It was a natural move for us because we as a team which has worked for many years together, we have heavily invested in deep tech companies, and I have developed support program for the space sector, which naturally is a dual-use sector. So combining our experiences and using the experience of smart transportation system units, we have seen this. We have seen the sectors which we should support, especially at the times when geopolitical situation is changing so fast. So we believe it was the right time to build the investment portfolio that would be of importance not only for the commercial sector, but also for national security. So to Balnord, deep tech and dual use was a natural trend that was a part of our strategy. And thanks to launching a new fund, we could get rid of certain limitations that blocked us from following the teams that were growing as part of the portfolio. And we could support regional projects that can become important elements that build infrastructure that can be used in different political contexts, and to scale up on European level. So this is how we evolved. So let us move on to, well, I wanted to add that I'm really happy that we have two funds that invest in deep tech, because when we were holding talks a couple of months ago or a year ago, Poland was a desert land. And now we have first two funds, and we are moving in the right direction. We were interested, obviously, but we also needed program to speed up. Yes, and so this is the same as for us. So I wanted to ask the questions that is of interest of all present here. I believe this is more challenging question, but we are facing this challenge together. Yes, we are on the same boat. So we would like the Ministry of Defense have easier access to funding opportunities or buying innovative solutions. So this is the key element for everyone right now. We have several examples from across the globe. So the best example here would be UK, but let me not delve into it right now. So what challenges have been addressed, and what challenges are you working on right now? I'm not asking about future. I will ask about it later. But if you could briefly describe the current situation from the point of view of the ministry and the challenges you are facing. The ministry faces the challenges that Veronika has presented. So first of all, 145 decision. So last year it was said we block, and now no one pays attention to this decision, and we need to change our mindset, especially in the heads of the military, because this is not an obstacle. This decision is not an obstacle, and the cooperation with civilian sector just makes us more vigilant, but it is not an it is not impossible to talk. We can meet, we can plan our future together. So the mindset is changing. And one of the main challenges was getting our end users on board. And once you can convince the end user to come and attend either bootcamp, when over 3 days they can talk to innovators face-to-face, they can present their demands or requirements and then listen to innovators and startups, then would naturally become more interesting in going into such cooperation. And then we do not need to ask them whether they would attend another edition, and they just approach us on their own and they want to commit. So the situation is changing, and we have more and more end users on board, and this is the positive trend. We have an inspectorate for UAV forces. We are conducting initial tests. We are publishing new calls. So Iron Defender, it has been already tested in the battlefield. So the military is opening up to cooperation with the civilian sectors. You have mentioned Mr. Krull, which is the head of the command for cybersecurity. So we had a meeting with the armed forces and the institutions we would like to be involved in open innovations to be aware of what is going on right now. So we are moving forward, but we still face several challenges, especially legal ones, which would allow us to test a broader range of technology and products because we only have US and country US, and as I have mentioned in my initial presentation, we want to provide opportunities for the Ministry of Defense to start purchasing test technology. So not only test it for a short time, but have a supervised operation, I don't know, for 6 months or with the presence of the end user and innovator in order to give feedback on an ongoing basis about what should be improved or adapted or verified. So this is where we are heading. Thank you. Staszek, you are present with your investment under the first fund in many countries. You have invested abroad, mainly abroad, I would say. So from your point of view, because you are still based in Warsaw. Yes, and I'm going to be based in Warsaw. So what differences do you see between Poland and developed countries in which you have been active? Here I mean cooperation between the military and the startups on the one hand, and the startup ecosystem. I know this is a broad topic, but if you try to present certain points and describe the differences that form the largest challenges in Poland. So I would give 2 examples, real-life examples. So first of all, the German example. As you know, Germany has just amended their constitution, and now they can spend more of their GDP on investments in the defense sector. In Poland, in Europe, 3 largest defense tech Three largest companies originate in Germany. Two largest funds that actively invest in defense tech are also from Germany. So we can see that Germans do it their way. They do it consistently and steadily. And I believe this is an opportunity for Poland to catch up with the Germans. And from what I see, even German companies that are fledgling, they conduct tests with Bundeswehr. So I believe this is a model that can be copied, and I believe we need to speed up our efforts, and I hope we'll achieve the same result, because the companies which, from the point of view of military, are fiddling with UAVs, they can grow really fast, and I'm not talking about the finances. I'm talking about their production capabilities. So 11 labs, now it is more difficult to apply to them than to Harvard, because everyone wants to work there. And the same is about defense tech companies. So you have huge talent. So people go into these startups because they specialize in defense tech, and they have something interesting to do. Now, an example from the UK, the Resilience Conference in London. We believe this is the most important conference for deep tech. So we have had a breakfast with representatives of British military companies and press, and there were 20 people at the table, and they were just talking. And this exchange of information was just on the face-to-face basis, and this is something that we are lacking because of the legislation, which is aimed at fighting corruption, and this is a huge success on the part of Poland, that we have won over corruption, and we no longer have this issue in Poland. So this legislation is no longer needed because now the situation has changed, and this is a big obstacle for us to talk to the military or to the government, because if business talks to administration, there is always a claim that some corruption may be involved. So this is something that we need to do. We need to trust each other more. Thank you. Wojtek, as part of, you also cooperate with former military. So how does it look like from your point of view? Because cooperation between the military sector and people who are active in this sector and the teams who have extensive investment experience seems to be significant for such projects. So how do you view the development of this sector from the point of view of starting cooperation with experts with hands-on experience?
It's a huge value that allows our founders to understand much better how they should navigate in this environment. How do the cycles go, and how to identify the right people that we should go through different processes so that the solution is tested and bought. Because what works differently for defense sales is that founders should really have relations with three types of people on the side of the sector, defense sector. End users that will express their interest in the technology and will be able to test it and to use it, people who are responsible for budgets in the unit, and people who conduct purchasing processes. So these are three types of people, of actors, three different actors, and workshops like that on the crew, on the personnel, military personnel that is responsible in the army for different procedures are very important, because for the understanding of the paths of how to find shortcuts and on how to speak the language of benefits that will get to the actors, because very often the founders of deep tech technologies and solutions are focusing on the solution itself and do not understand that different receivers need different sets of information. What is the added value? What is the cost effectiveness? So how can it be used? How the product can be implemented and into a greater scale. So such a coaching from someone who has gone through that path and knows exactly how such organization functions is key. Also, a very vast networking is important, not only in Poland, but also in different NATO countries. We, as a fund, when we take a look at development of Polish companies that are dual use, that could sell to the defense sector, we see that Poland is a great starting point. It's great to have exercises with Ministry of National Defense. But in order to build a truly European company, you have to go abroad. And we cannot build it as the silos systems, Poland its own, Germany its own, but you have to approach it and to try to gain the highest possible synergy. So Poland tries to be champions of Europe, and you want to build it within the Weimar Triangle, together with investors from France, Germany, and Poland. On the equal terms, those companies are financed, and we help them to get into the key European markets. But we also noticed that our role as BAL Nord is about driving the dual-use part. That is we are focused the most on that from investors, and that allows our companies to enter the European markets and then become a European champion. I have to say that I fully agree with Wojtek. I believe that this competitiveness that we should have with our allies should be like that. Our thesis is that we have a few new Nobel Prize. So these are going to be the biggest defense profile companies. And if Poland is about to have such a novel prime, and I hope that we will, it has to start from the fact that the state will support such a company significantly and will allow it to compete with foreign companies like German, French, British. And then there's a chance that that entity is going to be the champion and is going to dictate the conditions on the defense market. Because if Helsinki, for example, Helsinki is a natural candidate to become the novel prime, if everything goes right for Helsinki, then it's a new race that we missed. Helsinki is a great example of a company that pivots very well. It started with the great funding. They wanted to go into a different direction, and now they are designing autonomous systems. And in Poland, we have startups that are able to generate greater profits than Helsinki. And no one talks about it. So we do have entities here that do really well, more under the radar, but let's not be ashamed of it. And being a little malicious, they are not only pivoting well, but they also have a great PR. Okay, and there's also one more challenge, because you mentioned about engaging former military persons to your activities, but from our perspective, we would like to engage young innovators for Ministry of National Defense, so that we have this technology concept and this technological thinking, innovative thinking in the Ministry of Defense. This Department of Innovation, usually the average age is below 30, we have to tell you. And in the armed forces, usually it's 45, 50. So we have to count on the young ones. And it's a good idea on how it works the other way around, that the civilians can support the military. I believe that the first IDA or AUDs in Krakow, when we had a boy from the military academy, and in the civil, he was working as a researcher, and he was a mentor as the VOT representative, and he took this civilian knowledge with the knowledge gained in the military academy, and he combined that knowledge and could support us during the first events. So we need this second way of thinking. We don't have such roles in the Ministry of National Defense that would provide for national security, and we could employ such young people and give them what they need so that it would be attractive to them. So we have to think about it, because innovation comes with young people. I'm not saying that 50-plus generation has no chance to come up with some great ideas, but the young ones are dominating here. We are about to run out of our time. We only have 10 minutes left. I would like to ask you one question each. Please try to be brief. So, future. As Michał, what could you say about the plans? If the plans are not, well, you wouldn't like to discuss those plans, then tell us, how would you imagine, what kind of elements there are that you still need to work on, so that this cooperation looks even better between the innovation sector and the military sector? Well, as I mentioned before, we are working on the change of the provisions of law, or maybe complementation of the provisions of law, when we can purchase the first part, the trial part, the testing part. But what's next? Well, apart from that, I believe we'll have the CBAR access informing about the accessibility, because we've signed the agreement and we would like to incorporate them in our portfolio. And that will allow us to have additional financing for startups. So those startups who go through the selection path, they will be eligible for the sources to develop their technologies. What's next? More tests with the end users, and the more military units are, more and more military units are interested in testing, in touching the new technologies, in getting their hands on the new technologies, and in getting familiar with the new technologies. So this is the direction we're going to follow. What else? Together with EMRIT, we want to start a program for mentoring, so that we train the mentors. So the VC knowledge, startup knowledge, and the knowledge that we need would be shared with the military environment. So it's going to be easier to cooperate then. And I hope that in 1 year time, when we meet here again in IDA, we will be able to have next green ticks put in the challenges that we are facing today. I'm declaring our full accessibility to share the knowledge. Okay, we still have some minutes left. Let me address startups more, and the representatives that we have here, and those that presented their technologies. And let me ask you a question. Because at the very end, technology is one thing, but to get financing or getting a contract is another thing. It's the most difficult thing. And when I was talking to OXR, to Klaus, and I asked him, why hasn't he invested in Poland, even though we, FP, Fair Venture, we invested? His response was kind of surprising, although later on I understood it. He said that technologies are not bad, presentations are bad. So I would like to ask my colleagues, how do you approach it? Because this is, in fact, a conversation for a longer occasion. But I believe that when we have all those entities that look for financing, and when they meet, the way the technology is presented is very often more important than the technology itself. I would say not so much presentation itself, but the person presenting it. So if I am facing a person who I see his eyes are glowing or her eyes are glowing, and they are completely into the idea, and the vision is huge, and they see not the first 3 steps that they want to build a radar and sell it, but there's a big vision behind that idea. Because we are in a situation where the capital in defense tech starts to grow, the companies start to be more and more numerous, and we are still facing the main problems: anti-drone systems, new drone technology. So the spectrum of companies is quite limited yet. Well, they build more or less similar things. So technology is important. But when I believe that the person I'm talking to is able to bring this technology, to take it from the state it currently is at, but to get it to the target, to the objective, that is something I do. So it's about the belief in this person, because if we see a company and we have a presentation and 2 founders, then in 80%, this is an investment in a person behind that company, whether I believe they will be successful. For example, 11 Labs. We didn't like the product, but we loved the founders, and we don't want to repeat that mistake, because that was a mistake. So that's, first of all, that's it. The second of all, a lot of Polish companies make a mistake focusing on Poland. So I'm back at the vision. So they do not tell me on how it's going to be scalable for Europe or the world, but they just focus here on Poland. And then I talk to French founders, and they tell me about the British DevTech or Polish or German, and I see immediately that their spectrum of interest is much higher. Remember that venture from the very beginning is a global game, and no one is going to focus on the local market unless there is no way that Chinese partner is not is attractive to the venture. Well, I analyzed through the presentations. What was supposed to be the takeaway from the IDA bootcamps is that those startup founders showed us that the discussions that were carried out during the bootcamp were then translated into their steps further on. And they said, for example, thank you for telling us this and that, and we have implemented this and that, and that's why we have this and that action. So from the point of view of the Ministry of Defense, is that when a soldier sees that their guidelines or their advice is treated seriously and implemented, then it is a different story. Because if not, then sorry, there is nothing we can talk about. So when we see that the advice we provided is implemented and developed, then it creates room for further discussion. Would you like to add something, Wojtek? Yes, of course. Before I start talking about how to present, I'd like to remind you that our first investment in the in Balnor portfolio is a company that was the first graduate of the first edition of IDA Bootcamp. And here I can see a few several teams that I would like to help. So some of you are really great at presenting your values. But when you go to the meeting, you need to understand the person on the other side of the table and adjust your language to that person. You have to sell, you have to show, you have to present the added value that you are able to create, and not only talk about the fact that there is no competition at all or a very weak competition, but you have to point to the pains, to the burden that you're going to take off the shoulders of that person sitting on the second side of the table. For us as an investor, understanding your level of ambition is very important. And if your level of ambition is to create a product and, well, develop it somewhere and somewhere to implement it, and you feel good at it, then it does not have to be necessarily a product backed by venture capital, because we are looking for projects that want to scale from something very small into something really big. And we are the tool that allows you to go over those limitations and those obstacles that you have when you are unable to generate profits. And we are not looking at the fact whether you are able to sell the project or not, whether you have clients or not, but we are looking at the potential of your team, potential to scale, and how we can help you. And moving on to the end users, you have to adjust this message. A lot of you feels wonderful and great while building the technology, which is a crucial element of this business. But then in the market, those who win are those who sell better, even worse products. And you have to understand that in order to be able to compete with them, to gain clients and to gain investors. So that's the word of summing up from me. I can give you an anecdote from the last week. A guy came to me that I met a year ago. I knew he was very talented, but he is very young, 19 years old, I believe. And he tells me he wants to build rocket engines. And I feel, wow, the vision is amazing. I know him. You know him, right? Yeah, he told me he talked to you as well. And the vision is outstanding here. And I'm for sure don't want to limit him, and he tells me, look, I got 1 million PLN offer with the estimated value of 10 million. And should I take it? And I say, don't. Because think, how much is it going to cost you up to the moment when you're going to sell this engine commercially? $100 million. So I tell him, what will you do with this $1 million? You will sell 10% of the company, and that 1 million will not allow you to build anything. You will have maybe 2 engineers employed, and that's it. And that will be the limit of your possibilities and of your development. And it turned out at the end that he's not 19, he's 16. And he told me that only because he told me that he cannot register a company because he's not an adult. And even he's a minor. And even though he's very, very young and inexperienced, I do believe that he's going to build something. Maybe it's not going to be a rocket engine. Maybe it's going to be something else. But I can see that sky is the limit. There is no limit for him at all. And it's an example of founder that we are looking for, really. And a word of summing up of what you've said. Half a year ago, we have a contact form, and since there, we are simply swooshed, flooded with many different offers, from ideas to solutions, East Shield, startups, anything. You can just name it. And when they get feedback at one spot, even though they were given a feedback, they don't do it. They don't implement it. They try from the other path. And we know.
So we know that a given startup has presented and was given feedback in order to take the second step with us, but they don't do it. So please take a minute to pause and think that with us you need to talk about specific ideas. So I would like to confirm that we and Balnord have known each other for a long time and have had a very open relationship. So if some company company wants to bid, saying that I have talked to Balnord or vice versa, I have had similar experiences that. And I hear someone, but we've been talking to this or that institution, and we can verify this information very soon. So let me give you another brief anecdote to conclude. So we are meeting many VC funds, not only Polish one, but also international ones. And these talks are usually very inspiring. And we have been talking to a fund from London, which has told us a story which I will recapitulate to you. So the founders approached them, and they wanted to make music online. It's not defense sector, but listen up. So everything was great. However, the representative of a fund told them, this business model is, forgive my French, shit, because several startups have tried it, and you need to do it our way. So you need to adopt a different business model to sell your product. And this is the end of a story, but this is how Spotify was established, founded, and other startups that have been successful in the market. Because venture capital is not only about money. If you have an expert team, a dedicated team, they would inspire you, and they would not only give you money, but also guidance. So last but not least, you can verify this information. Microsoft wouldn't have been funded if not for VC and any other tech company. So Microsoft got funding from an American VC when Microsoft was worth $20 million and Bill Gates was a very young man. And for 30 years, the director of a VC was on the management board of Microsoft, and they have cooperated together for years and years. So what I want to wish you is to have a cooperation with the Ministry of Defense and startups, that we would have better cooperation and that we could build together a strong ecosystem. So now, last but not least, let me remind you that the Silicon Valley has developed due to the Second World War and the Vietnam War. You can read it in the Secret History. This is a UT presentation, a Secret History of Silicon Valley. So thank you. Thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. So not only let us sing something together, we can build something together. As Polish Development Fund, we have looked at the UAV market in Poland, and now I would like to ask the head of the Department of Strategy, who supervised these initiative, Jan Domanik. I have been introduced, but let me remind you. So we've heard so many insights, and we got a very simple task which would take us a month or two, because we were supposed to make an inventory. I'm not sure if it's the right word. So we wanted to look at startups on the Polish market and the drone solutions they offer. Well, I'm not a startup expert, so it is too much for me to operate this stuff. So we have talked about drone solutions. So this is about the report entitled Productive Potential of Startups in the Scope of Building UAVs in Poland. So you can download these reports online. And let me talk about something we do not mention in the report. Here I mean the process of collecting information. And first of all, in this report, we do not describe all the companies, but only the ones we got in touch with, who talked to us and who showed certain maturity. Obviously, we have sifted some companies that buy UAVs in China, and they repaint it and call it innovation and try to sell it to the military, and they say it's Polish. So we've seen some photos of drones that even Chinese inscriptions were not removed correctly from them. So we've been talking to several companies, and they are not quite ready to present their products. So finally, there are 13 companies, and in total, they produce 1,600 drones. So in Ukraine, one brigade uses such a number of drones within one day. So, we've been talking to many companies, and we have we have selected 26 solutions, and there are a number of innovations. Many of these companies are at the stage of Bill Gates' garage, and these are interesting solutions. And from the point of view of what happens in Ukraine, they are not up to date, really, because there are more advanced solutions in place globally. But these companies haven't been commercialized yet, so they have manufactured 1, 2, or 3 pieces. But if the military has said, this is a great solution, and let us equip 3 brigades with it, they would say, yes, great, we'll deliver you 500 pieces in 3 years' time. So many solutions are ahead of us, and this is why we are implementing this program. And what has been said during this discussion, and I fully subscribe to it, Polish state needs to take the first step and assist the companies. There have been some systemic solutions like public procurement law. What would happen if UAV gets broken? Can you make settlement for it or not? So it took us years, and it will take us many more years before our sector will be viable and will help Poland to build UAV resilience and offensive resilience. And this is what this report is about. So next year we will update the report. So I'm hoping we will, but so far, we are inviting you to the discussion, and we understand that this company doesn't encompass this report. So the total production will be 1,600 pieces of drones, and we are not mentioning PGZ or other military defense sector companies. And we know that there are companies in Poland that manufacture drones that are sent to Ukraine, but still this is not the production that would give autonomy to Polish armed forces. We are at the starting stage, And I totally agree with everything that you have said during the discussion. And these are the challenges of the market. So I strongly recommend you reading the reports. Thank you. Thank you, Janek. Although we are meeting to sum up the 2025 edition, still the works are conducted on the next one. And now it's time for Konrad Piasecki on National Center for Research and Development. And he will be talking about new funding opportunities. So my name is Konrad Kosecki, Access NCBR. Nice to see you here. It's a great honor to talk to you. So we have heard the conclusion of IDA, this year's edition of IDA, and now I would like to tell you about our plans for the future and what you can expect in the future. But let us mention Access and CBR first. So Access stands for accelerator, so national accelerator that supports startups in general and in more detail innovative teams that have research and development research, scientific results, that they would like to commercialize in form of startups or implementation partnerships. So this is an independent body under the supervision of National Center for Research and Development. So we are observing the strategy of NCBR, and we focus on Polish R&D sector. We are working on a space tech program, and we have also started cooperation with the Ministry of Defense. We wanted to do it for a long time, and it seems that this is the perfect time to start such a cooperation. So we want to support innovative teams, the Ministry of Defense and Polish Armed Forces, which are opening to innovations also coming from the civilian market. And on this basis, we have developed this idea. So it was modeled after Diana and other projects. And what we offer to you is the acceleration program dedicated to dual-use solutions developed together with the Ministry of National Defense. We'll launch this program soon. We are still negotiating details, so I cannot give you exact dates. As I have mentioned, this program will be addressed to startups and design and research teams that have interesting research and R&D results that they want to commercialize. So we are working together with the Ministry of National Defense, and we are focusing on dual use. And there will be several topics defined by the ministry. Where we need to acquire innovative solutions from the civilian market. So I'm not going to delve into details because we are about to conclude our discussions. Obviously, we will give some leeway to IDA participants, especially the ones of the previous one. So what can you expect from it? This is an open call for proposals. So the startups make applications, and we as Access will be the program operator. So we will make the evaluation of these applications, and we will also assess pitch and presentation skills. And the the best teams will join accelerator program lasting 6 months, and as part of this program, we will be working for 6 months. So the startups will work with our mentors, and we have a strong team of mentors who support these startups. So these are mainly business VC funds and business angel representatives, and they can give advice to young founders and help them identify the challenges and help them to grow. And we also get the sector advisors, thanks to the cooperation with the Ministry of Defense, and our beneficiaries will be benefiting from the expertise of dual-use experts, because we want to prepare the startups for the final implementation for end users. So whether they would think about the independent operations or cooperation with the military or the Ministry of Defense, they could discuss all the options and get prepared for them. Apart from mentoring, we are offering financial support. And because certain expenditure is always involved, and we offer standard funding amounting to 300,000 zlotys for a given startup. It's not huge money, but it is not our intention to pump money into startups. We just want them to get prepared before they go and talk to investors. So once we complete the acceleration and mentoring process, we are hoping that these startups would implement their projects with end users like Ministry of Defense or Polish Armed Forces. So this is in a nutshell. So please apply, please join our program. And as I have mentioned, specific information and dates will be announced on our website and in our social media and with our partners, and we will do it soon. So this is all from me. Thank you very much. After this event, we'll be staying here, so if you have any questions, you can approach me. Thank you. Thank you, CBR Accelerator for IDA, and today's call will be based on this edition of IDA. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are about to conclude our events. So it is time for lunch, and the startups, they will be talking as part of VC Connect. Please come here after lunch. Thank you, and see you next year.
Fling the robot